armour. It's fantastic.
Designed to protect from catastrophic injury, it became a real game changer for the Navy in the 1800s.
And with the introduction of ironclad and metal-hulled vessels, suddenly British coastal defences were a bit, well, useless. And find out how the coastal defences beat the newfangled ironclad armour in this episode of Battery Charge.
Hello and welcome to this episode of Battery Charge. We are here at the Verne High Angle Battery on the Isle of Portland on the coast of Dorset.
In the 1800s, the ships of the day upgraded their hulls, originally from wooden hulls, then to ironclad hulls, and finally metal hulls.
Meaning, the artillery of the coastal defence would be laughably ineffective due to the fact that it would not go through the armour of any of the ships.
Now, you may be asking yourself, what is different about this here battery down there?
Well, let's take a look at this location.
So, just down there is Verne Citadel. This used to be home to the local garrison of Portland, but is now a HM prison.
According to references, Verne High Angle Battery was built in 1892.
So they were leaving the anti-ironclad defences a bit too late, weren't they?
Well, by the 1880s, steam-powered ironclads were stalking the seas. They did, however, have a weakness. So the structure we're in now is a bomb-proof shelter which contains accommodation for the troops and also a magazine and a laboratory.
The laboratory would have been used to cook up various amounts of explosive.
These are the gun emplacements. They're huge! 6 in total. References suggest that there may have been plans for 2 more guns, but they were never installed.
Now, for those of you paying attention, you may notice we are nowhere within visual range of the sea.
Good point, Gunny. We're on top of a hill, and in fairness, there isn't any water.
This would make targeting the guns from the sea somewhat difficult.
So here we have some rails that lead from the magazine to the gun emplacements.
A latrine.
So how did this battery overcome the might of the ironclad vessels? Well, here is what we think would have happened.
Way over there, a keen-eyed observer has spotted a fleet of ironclads heading towards Portland Harbour.
He would send a signal down to the battery officer who would then ready the gun crews.
The battery would spring into life and the gun crews would take up their positions.
Depending on how far away the target was, the appropriate explosive was brought out of the magazine and loaded onto the trolley.
The principle being, the more explosive used, the further the projectile will go.
A huge shell would be taken from the magazine, loaded onto a truck, and then hauled up these rails and then loaded into the gun.
The name Verne High Angle Battery is a good giveaway to the purpose of guns.
Unlike most batteries, which guns face the sea in order to hit the hull of the vessel,
These guns are mounted on a vertical angle.
so according to reference 70 degrees, loading it from the gun apron in this fashion was quicker.
The 6 9-inch RML guns could be rotated 360 degrees. Now this meant that the guns could track the incoming ironclad vessel.
And when the target was in range, the order was given to fire.
Now here is the clever and interesting part. Most of the ironclad vessels still had wooden decks, which were their Achilles heel.
If the first gun missed, then the target spotters would redirect the other 5 guns to fire until the target was destroyed.
So, even though the ironclad ships were big and powerful, according to some resources, they lacked 2 key things: maneuverability and speed. So being so far away from the water meant that the guns were less likely to get hit by counter-battery fire. This meant that the gun crews could continue to reload the guns and continue the barrage.
Now, in all honesty, this sounds a little bit too good to be true, and to be fair, it kind of was.
You see, as brilliant as it was, there were just far too many variables, which meant most of the times the guns were really inaccurate.
And with the introduction of faster attack crafts like the torpedo boats in the early 1900s, the guns became woefully slow and inaccurate.
Not to mention taking a long time to aim and load.
Yeah. According to references, in 1907, just 15 years after this battery had been constructed, it was abandoned and used for the storage of field guns that had been captured in battle.
And in the 1900s, armour-piercing shells were being used by conventional coastal batteries.
You've got to admit, though, attacking the exposed decks of ironclad ships, pretty clever.
It is indeed, and unfortunately, that's all the time we have on this episode of A Battery Charge.
Join us next time.
Until then, farewell!
Bye.